All right, we have an interesting one today because, well, this contradiction, Abraham names a well and calls it Beersheba. Then, well, his son Isaac comes along and calls it Beersheba. It sounds like there's a bit of a contradiction happening.
It definitely raises some eyebrows, right? If the place was already named, why would Isaac name it again?
And I want to get to the bottom of this because there's 439 contradictions. And I'm a Christian, so I need to deal with this. What about you? Do you want to find out whether these are contradictions or not? And you know what? I'm not too afraid to get into it. So who named Beersheba? One says Abraham with Genesis 21:31, and Genesis 26:33 says Isaac did. This has got to be a contradiction and well worth getting into because we're going to get into both the verses, how they differ, and really what it means. My name is Craig and this is Morning Star Quest, where we are delving into the Bible one question at a time.
So in Genesis 21, Abraham names the place Beersheba after making a covenant with Abimelech. The name Beersheba means well of the oath or well of seven, referring to the oath and the 7 lambs that were part of the agreement.
All right, so let's just get into the basics here. So Genesis 21:31 says plainly, so that place was called Beersheba because the 2 men swore an oath there. So Abraham with Abimelech, there's obviously a bit of a treaty that needs to be done because they wanted to share different parts of some land, but they agreed to this area, and Abraham names the place Beersheba, meaning well of oath or well of 7.
So at this point, Beersheba gets its name from that significant oath between Abraham and Abimelech. It's a landmark moment.
So when Isaac comes along, these wells have been filled in. The Philistines have filled them in, they are gone. But when he comes along, he finds them again or rediscovers, or he knows they're there, and he opens them up again. So then he calls it, I think in his words, he called it Sheba. Obviously it's Beersheba, obviously it's a cut-off name, and to this day the name of the town has been Beersheba. So Sheba is just oath. Is that right?
Exactly. Sheba can mean oath or 7, tying back to the original meaning. So Isaac essentially reestablishes the name, reinforcing the legacy of that place. It's more of a continuation rather than a contradiction.
And so really what we've got is the dad comes along, creates the wells, and has an oath with Abimelech. Then when Isaac comes along, he rediscovers them or repurposes them back to the original thing because they got filled in, who knows how many years later. And so he calls it oath. So he is, well, you could say he's just going back to the original.
Exactly. He's restoring what his father established, keeping the heritage alive. So it's more of a reaffirmation than a renaming.
So why is this a contradiction? Because it's like you said, it's a reaffirmation. I don't know what you think. You're watching this and you're thinking, is this a contradiction or not? I would love to know what you think. I mean, if I put these 2 verses together, yes, you get a seemingly interesting contradiction. But if you actually take in the full story, everything, then it's not. It's a reaffirmation.
Exactly. Context is everything. What looks like a contradiction at first glance often isn't once you understand the full story and cultural context.
Yeah, so every time we get into contradictions, we find so much more story. We find so much more about Jesus. Yes, even in the Old Testament. And if we can just dig into the Bible, find out more about Jesus's story and how he fits into history. This is not about us trying to find out where we are part of this history. We are trying to find out his part of the history.
Absolutely. Each deep dive not only clarifies the supposed contradictions, but also enriches our understanding of the Bible's bigger picture. It's amazing how these details draw us closer to the central story of Jesus and God's plan.
Every time I get into these contradictions, I find it resolves the disputes. And just like in this oath between Abraham and Isaac, it's not a dispute. It's an oath. And Isaac is just reaffirming that. And with this, I really want to go into how this is about Jesus' story. And even these little stories about, say, a well really add to this whole story about Jesus and how we can rededicate our lives, rededicate an oath, rededicate our lives to Jesus. And we just got to read the Bible way more. And this is not a contradiction because, well, like I said, it's a rededication of oath.
So keep exploring, keep digging, and let these discoveries strengthen your faith journey.
I couldn't have said it better. Go do something awesome for God, and I'll catch you in the next one.